हरे कृष्ण। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के प्रभुपाद रीडिंग सेशन में। तो हम आपका आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हैं। आज से हम प्रभुपाद की जो छोटी पुस्तकें हैं उसको पढ़ेंगे। तो आज पहले जो हम शुरू करेंगे उसका नाम है ऑन द वे टू कृष्णा, और उसका जो पहला चैप्टर है वो है थ्रू वे टू हैप्पीनेस। तो पहले थोड़ा मंगलाचरण कर लेते हैं। आज मैं मंगलाचरण कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैं चाहूंगा कि आप सभी इस मंगलाचरण को सीखें ताकि समय के साथ सारे इसको कर सकें। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुर्वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सहस्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णाप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। आप सभी का एक और बार स्वागत है। तो आशा करता हूँ आप सभी को स्क्रीन नजर आ रही होगी, और स्क्रीन में पहला चैप्टर खुला हुआ है ऑन द वे टू कृष्णा। इसका वेदावेस का लिंक मैं आप सभी के साथ शेयर कर दूंगा। तो आज हम शुरू करते हैं चैप्टर 1 थ्रू वे टू हैप्पीनेस। बीच में अगर किसी को कुछ भी डाउट होगा तो वो अनम्यूट करके मुझसे पूछ सकते हैं। Every one of us is searching after happiness, but we do not know what real happiness is. We see so much advertised about happiness, but practically speaking, we see so few happy people. This is because so few people know that the platform of real happiness is beyond temporary things. It is this real happiness that is described in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Happiness is generally perceived through our senses. A stone, for instance, has no sense and cannot perceive happiness and distress. Developed consciousness can perceive happiness and distress more intensely than undeveloped consciousness. Trees have consciousness, but it is not developed. Trees may stand for a long time in all kinds of weather, but have they have no way for perceiving miseries. If a human being were asked to stand like a tree only for 3 days or even less, he would not be able to tolerate it. The conclusion is that every living being feels happiness or distress according to the degree of development of his consciousness. The happiness that we are experiencing in the material world is not real happiness. If one asks a tree, "Are you feeling happy?" the tree, if it could, might say, "Yes, I'm happy. Standing here all year, I'm enjoying the wind and snowfall very much, etc." This may be enjoyed by the tree, but for the human being, it is a very low standard of enjoyment. There are different kinds of grades of living entities and their conceptions and perception of happiness uh, are also different. Although one animal may see that another animal is being slaughtered, he will go on right on chewing grass, for he has no knowledge to understand that he might be the next one. He is thinking that he is happy, but at the next moment he may be slaughtered. In this way, there are different degrees of happiness, yet all of them, what is the highest happiness? Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, Sukham atyantim yattad buddhi graham atindriyam veti yatra na chayvayam sthitah chalati tatvatah. In that joy state, samadhi, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses, established thus, one never departs from the truth. Bhagavad Gita 6.21. Buddhi means intelligence. One has to be intelligent if he wants to enjoy. Animals do not have really developed intelligence and so cannot enjoy life as a human being can. The hands, the nose, the ears, the other sense organs, and all the bodily parts may be present on a dead man, but he cannot enjoy. Why not? The enjoying energy, the spiritual spark has left, and therefore the body has no power. If one looks further into the matter with a little intelligence, he can understand that it was not the body that was enjoying at all, but the small spiritual spark that was within. Although one may think that he is enjoying by the bodily sense organs, the real enjoyer is that spiritual spark. That spiritual spark always has the potency of enjoyment, but it is not always manifest due to being covered by the material tabernacle. Although we may not be aware of it, it is possible for the body to experience enjoyment without the presence of the spiritual spark. If a man is offered the dead body of a beautiful woman, will he accept it? No, because the spiritual spark has moved out of the body. Not only was it enjoying within the body, but it was maintaining the body. When the spark leaves, the body simply deteriorates. It follows that if the spirit is enjoying, it must have its senses also. Otherwise, how can it enjoy? The Vedas that confirm that the spirit soul, although atomic in size, is the actual enjoying agent. It is not possible to measure the soul, but that is not to say that it is without measurement. An object may seem to us to be no bigger than a point and may seem to have no length or width, but when we perceive it under a microscope, we can see that it has both length and width. Similarly, the soul also has a dimensions, but we cannot perceive them. When we buy a suit or dress, it is made of to fit the body. The spiritual spark must have form. Otherwise, how is it the material body have grown to accommodate it? The conclusion is that the spiritual spark is not impersonal, it is an actual person. God is an actual person, and the spiritual spark, being a fragmental part of him, is also a person. If the Father has personality and individuality, the Son also has them. And if the Son has them, we conclude that the Father has them. So, how can we, as sons of God, assert our personality and individuality and at the same time deny them to our Father, the Supreme Lord? यहाँ पे कहने का तात्पर्य ये है कि कई बार जो निराकारवादी हैं वो कहते हैं कि ब्रह्म ज्योति में लीन होना है या भगवान का कोई स्वरूप नहीं है। हम कहते हैं कि बहुत सारे भगवान है, लेकिन भगवान असल में एक ज्योति है या एक शक्ति है, एनर्जी है जहाँ सब कुछ मैनिफेस्ट होता है। तो इसी चीज को खंडन करते हुए यहाँ पे प्रभुपाद जी बता रहे हैं कि अगर हमारे पिताजी का एक फॉर्म है, उनसे क्योंकि हमारी उत्पत्ति हुई है तो हमारा एक फॉर्म है। तो उसी प्रकार से क्योंकि हमारा फॉर्म है, हम देख पा रहे हैं, तो हमको देखकर भी कोई ये अनुमान लगा सकता है कि हमारे पिताजी का भी फॉर्म होगा। ठीक उसी प्रकार से हम सारे भगवान के अंश हैं, छोटे छोटे। भगवान ने इस दुनिया को बनाया है जिसने हमको बनाया है। तो अगर हमारा एक फॉर्म है, हमारे अगर हाथ पैर नाक कान मुंह आँख सब कुछ है, तो स्वाभाविक सी बात है भगवान की भी ये सारे हैं। लेकिन अगर हम इस चीज को नहीं मान रहे हैं तो ये हमारी मूर्खता है। तो मैं यहाँ निवेदन करूंगा कि कोई और आगे पढ़े। सुदीप प्रभु, अगर आप कंटिन्यू करना चाहेंगे। हरे कृष्णा। शायद वो नहीं सुन पा रहे हैं। और कोई प्रीतिश प्रभु, आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हैं यहाँ से। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा बोलना
बढ़िया।
Atindriyam से Atindriya means that we have to transcend this material. Uh, Atindriya means that we have to transcend these material senses before we can appreciate real happiness. Ramante Yogina Anta Satyananda Chit Atma. The yogis who are aspiring after spiritual life are also testing enjoyment by focusing on the super soul within. If there is no pleasure, if there is no enjoyment, then what is the point of going to so much trouble to control the senses? What kind of pleasure are the yogis releasing if they are taking so much trouble? That pleasure is ananta, endless. How is this? The spirit soul is eternal, and the supreme Lord is eternal. Therefore, the reciprocation of their loving exchanges is eternal. One who is actually intelligent will refrain from the flickering sensual enjoyment of this material body and fix his enjoyment in spiritual life. His participation in spiritual life with the Supreme Lord is called Rasalila.
आगे बढ़ सकते हैं bro?
Next, we have often heard of Krishna's Rasalila with the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, girls in Vrindavan. That is not like ordinary exchanges that take place between these material bodies. Rather, it is an exchange of feeling to the spiritual body. One has to be somewhat intelligent to understand this. For a foolish man who cannot understand what is real happiness is, seeks happiness in this material world. In India, there is a story of a man who did not know that the sugarcane was told yes, was told that it was very sweet to chew. Oh, what does it look like? He asked. It looks like just a bamboo rod. Someone said that. So the policeman began to chew all kinds of bamboo rods. How can he begin to experience the sweetness of the sugarcane? Similarly, we are trying to get happiness and pleasure, but we are trying for them by chewing this material body. Therefore, there is no happiness and no pleasure. For the time being, there may be some little feeling of pleasure, but that is not actual pleasure, for it is temporary. It is like a show of lightning which we may see flashing in the sky that may momentarily seem like lightning. But the real lightning is beyond that, because a person does not really know what the happiness is. He deviates from real happiness. Mm, the process for establishing oneself in real happiness is the process of Krishna consciousness. By Krishna consciousness, we can gradually develop our real intelligence and naturally enjoy releasing spiritual happiness as we make spiritual progress. As we begin to release the spiritual happiness, we proportionately abandon material happiness. As we make progress in understanding the absolute truth, we naturally become detached from this false happiness. If somehow or other one is promoted to that stage of Krishna consciousness, what is the result? And then इसके बाद ही पढ़ूंगा ये प्रभु.
यम लब्ध्वा चापरम लाभम मन्यते नाधिकम ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुनापि विचाल्यते. ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ सकते हैं आप.
Actually, Prabhu, I am in office, so there is little noise here.
सुब्रत प्रभु. हरे कृष्णा. सुब्रत प्रभु
हरे कृष्णा
पढ़
ମୁଁ
सकते हैं आप
ଘରେ
ट्रांसलेशन.
ଯୋଉ କାଠ କାମ ଚାଲିଛି ତ ଟିକେ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ହଉଛି
आप पढ़ने में
ମଝିରେ
कंफर्टेबल
ସାଉଣ୍ଡ
हैं?
ହଉଛି ପାଇଁ ଏବେ ପଢି ହଉନି ମାନେ ମଝିରେ ମଝିରେ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ହଉଛି ତ ସେ କାଠ କାମ ଚାଲିଛି.
अच्छा, तो जय कृष्णा प्रभु पढ़ रहे हैं या फिर कैसे?
जी जी प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी. So, upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken even in the midst of greatest difficulty. When one attains that stage, other achievement appears insignificant. In this material world, we are trying to achieve so many things: riches, omen, fame, beauty, knowledge, etc. But as soon as we are situated in Krishna consciousness, we think, oh, no achievement is better than this. Krishna consciousness is so potent that a little test can save one from the greatest danger. As one begins to release the taste of Krishna consciousness, he begins to see other so-called enjoyment and attainment as flat and tasteless. And if one is situated firmly in Krishna consciousness, the greatest danger can't disturb him. There are so many dangers in life because the material world is a place of danger. We tend to close our eyes to this, and because we are foolish, we try to adjust to these dangers. We may have many dangerous moments in our life, but if we are training ourselves in Krishna consciousness and preparing ourselves to go home, back to Godhead, we will not care for them. Our attitude will then be danger, come and go. So let him happen. It is very difficult to make this kind of adjustment as long as one is on the materialistic platform and is identifying with the gross body, which is composed of perishable elements. But the more one advanced in Krishna consciousness, the more he became free from bodily designation and this material entanglement. In in Srimad Bhagavatam, the material world is compared to great ocean. Within this material universe there are millions and billions of planets floating in space, and we can just imagine how many Atlantic and Pacific oceans are there. In fact, the whole material universe is likened to a great ocean of misery, one ocean of birth and death. In order to cross this great ocean of nescience, a strong boat is needed, and that strong boat is the lotus feet of Krishna. We should immediately get aboard that boat. We should not hesitate, thinking that Krishna's feet are very small. The whole universe is simply resting on his leg. For one who takes shelter of his feet, it is said that the material universe is no longer significant than a puddle of water found in impression of calf's footprint. There is certainly no difficulty in crossing over such a small puddle.
You want me to recite the verse? Tam vidya dukha samyoga viyogam yoga samjitam. I should we continue.
This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. We are entangled in the material world due to uncontrolled senses. The yoga process is meant to control these senses. If somehow we can manage the control to the senses, we can turn our face to actual spiritual happiness and make our life successful. Sa nas
Would you like to try or let me try?
Prabhuji, actually it is difficult for me to actually.
It's very big as well. सनिश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो निर्विन्न चेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान कामामस त्यक्त्वा सर्वाम अशेषत मनसेवेन्द्रिय ग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः शनैः शनैर् उपाम्रेत् बुद्ध्या घृतितया आत्मसमस्थान् मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चित् अपि चिन्तयते यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चाञ्चलम् अस्थिरं तथा तथो नियम्यते एतात् आत्मनि एवं वशं नयेत्. Let me continue. It means one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with undeviating determination and faith and not being deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of material speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Bhagavad Gita 6.24 to 6.26. The mind is always disturbed. It is going sometimes this way and sometimes that way. By yoga practice, we literally drag the mind to Krishna consciousness. The mind strays from Krishna consciousness so that to so many exterior objects because from time immemorial, life after life, that has been our practice. Due to this, there may be great difficulty in the beginning when one tries to fix his mind in Krishna consciousness, but these difficulties can all be overcome. It is because the mind is agitated and not fixed on Krishna that it goes from one thought to another. For instance, when we are engaged in work, memories of events that happened 10, 20, 30, or 40 years may suddenly come to our mind for no apparent reason. These thoughts come from our subconscious, and because they are always rising, the mind is always agitated. If we agitate a lake or a pond, all the mud from the bottom comes to the surface. Similarly, when the mind is agitated, so many thoughts arise from the subconscious that have been stored there over the years. If we do not disturb a pond, the mud will settle to the bottom. This yoga process is the means to quiet the mind and allow all these thoughts to settle. For this reason, there are so many rules and regulations to follow in order to keep the mind from becoming agitated. If we follow the rules and regulations, gradually the mind will come under control. There are so many don'ts and so many do's. If one is serious about training the mind, he has to follow them. If he acts whimsically, what is the possibility of the mind being controlled? When the mind is finally trained to the point where it will think of nothing but Krishna, it will attain peace and will become very tranquil. Prasantam manasam hi enam yoginam sukhamuttamam upeti santarajasam brahma bhutam akalmasam. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme and thus is freed from all reaction of past deeds. Bhagavad Gita 6.27. The mind is always concocting objects of happiness. I'm always thinking this will make me happy or that will make me happy. Happiness is here, happiness is there. In this way, the mind is taking us anywhere and everywhere. It is as though we are riding on a chariot being an unbridled horse. We have no power over where we are going, but can only sit in horror and watch helplessly. As soon as the mind is engaged in the process of Krishna consciousness, specifically by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then the wild horses of the mind will gradually come under our control. We must engage in Krishna's service every moment of our lives in order to keep the restless and turbulent mind from dragging us from one object to another in a vain search of for happiness in the temporary material world. युञ्जन एवं सदा मानं योगी विगत कल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम अत्यंतम सुखम अश्नुते. Thus, the self-controlled yogi constantly engaged in yoga practice becomes free from all mortal contamination, and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 6.28. Krishna serves as a patron for one who is devoted to him. When one is in difficulty, his patron saves him. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the real friend of every living entity, and we have to revive our friendship with him. The method for reviving this friendship is the process of Krishna consciousness. By practice of Krishna consciousness, mundane passionate hankering will come to stop. This passionate hankering keeps us divorced from Krishna. Krishna is within us and is waiting for us to turn to him. But we are too busy passionately eating the fruits of the trees of material desire. This passionate compulsion to enjoy these fruits must stop, and we must situate ourselves in our real identity as Brahman, pure spirit. Hare Krishna. तो आज की क्लास में हमने क्या पढ़ा कि व्हाट इज रियल हैप्पीनेस एंड व्हाट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ अटेनिंग इट. इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? लाइक हमने शुरू से केवल इतना देखा कि वी आर हैंकरिंग फॉर डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, बट वी बीइंग इग्नोरेंट डोंट नो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट हैप्पीनेस इज ऑल अबाउट, व्हाट आवर इनर सोल वांट्स इन रियल. क्या वो सुख कौन सा है जो हम खोजना चाहते हैं, वो कौन सी खुशी है जिसके पीछे हम भागना चाहते हैं, वो नहीं जानते हुए. क्योंकि वो कहते हैं ना, अगर हम मान लीजिए कार नहीं है चलाने के लिए तो हम बाइक से संतुष्ट हैं, अगर बाइक नहीं हमारे पास चलाने के लिए तो हम साइकिल से संतुष्ट हैं. तो क्योंकि हमारे पास हायर स्पिरिचुअल एनर्जी नहीं है, तो हम अपने मटेरियल एनर्जीज या मटेरियल जो हैप्पीनेस है उससे अपने आप को सेटिस्फाई करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. बट क्या बता रहे हैं वो, विथ टाइम इट डिटोरिएट्स. यहाँ बता रहे हैं ना, बॉडी सिंपली डिटोरिएट्स, बॉडी भी चला जाएगा और ये हैप्पीनेस जो है ये सारे धीरे धीरे चला जाएगा. तो वी हैव टू बी वेरी 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 कॉशियस एंड वी हैव टू बी वेरी डेडिकेटेड कि हम किस तरीके से जो स्पिरिचुअल हैप्पीनेस है दैट इज गोइंग टू स्टे फॉरएवर, उसकी ओर अग्रगति करें. तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि आज के लिए हम एक ही चैप्टर पढ़ते हैं, क्योंकि ज़्यादा पढ़ेंगे तो फिर भूल जाएंगे. तो एक्चुअली मैं कुछ पॉइंट्स डिस्कस करना चाह रहा था. हमारा जो रीडिंग सेशन रहेगा वो आधे घंटे का ही रहेगा, हम आधे घंटे ही पढ़ेंगे. पहले के 10 मिनट हम क्या करा करेंगे, जैसे आज हमने कुछ कुछ पॉइंट पढ़ा, तो कल मैं आशा करूंगा कि आप में से कोई आए और एक पॉइंट या 2 पॉइंट जो आज पढ़ के उनको अच्छा लगा है उसको बोले, ताकि बाकी लोगों का उत्साह बढ़े. लाइक वंस वी स्पीक सम गुड पॉइंट्स और समथिंग दैट वी रियली लाइक, तो उससे दूसरों को मोटिवेशन पहला तो मिलता है कि हाँ वो भी कुछ बोले, दूसरा वो ध्यान से सुने, और तीसरा हम लाइफ में अप्लाई कर पाएंगे. इसी वजह से हम क्या करेंगे, 1 बजे मिलेंगे, 1, 5 या 1, 7 तक कुछ कल के पॉइंट डिस्कस किए और फिर एक चैप्टर या जो भी 1.5 चैप्टर पढ़ सकते हैं उसको पढ़ेंगे. उसके अलावा जब ये बुक खत्म हो जाएगी, 5 ही चैप्टर है इस बुक में, मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ. इस बुक में 5 ही चैप्टर हैं. जब ये 5 चैप्टर खत्म हो जाएंगे, हम एक बहुत ही छोटा सा टेस्ट मतलब क्विज मैं बना लूंगा, उसको हम रखेंगे. उससे क्या होगा, हम अपने आप को ब्रश अप कर पाएंगे कि जो भी हमने पॉइंट पढ़े बहुत सिंपल रहेंगे, मल्टीपल चॉइस जो नॉर्मल करना है. तो उससे क्या होगा, हम अपने आप को एंगेज रख पाएंगे. अब इसमें ऐसा नहीं होगा कि मैं बस पढ़े जा रहा हूँ, आप लोग बैठ के सुन रहे हैं. वी ऑल हैव टू एंगेज आवरसेल्व्स इनटू अ प्लेटफॉर्म सो दैट द यू नो रीडिंग गोज कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव. तो ठीक है, आज के लिए इतना ही रखते हैं. अगर किसी को कुछ कहना है तो कह सकते हैं, वरना आज सेशन ये रखते हैं और फिर कल से हम सेकंड चैप्टर से कंटिन्यू करेंगे. लेकिन पहले आप लोगों से कुछ सुन करके तो कुछ कहना चाहते हैं. सागर प्रभु, सुब्रत प्रभु, प्रत्यक्ष प्रभु, रियलमी प्रभु, सुदीप प्रभु, कोई कुछ कहना चाहते हैं? जय कृष्ण प्रभु, एनीवन? ठीक है. जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, संगीत भक्त वृंद की, गौर प्रेमानंदे. कल इसी समय. धन्यवाद.